What's happening, people? I am Christ, I am disciple. I haven't talked to you guys in a while, but I have a boxing channel, so I talk a lot about boxing than I do anything else. But anyway, today I wanted to do something I haven't done in a long time. I'm going to read a piece of scripture for you guys that I've been reading this morning. It comes from Isaiah 42. Real quick. Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my elect, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit in him, and he shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry, nor lift up, nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed he shall not break, and the smoking flax he shall not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto truth. I think this is so dope. I don't live like this, but it's still so dope to see this, you know. Been dwelling on that scripture. It's kind of helped me through some situations. But I wanted to talk to you guys about that real quick. Servant. Now, this refers to Jesus, yes, but it also kind of refers to us as well. This is the sort of behavior and aspects we should be. We just let truth justify itself, and we don't need to really speak about many things. But I wanted to just bring up this because the situation that's happening in the world today, as we can see, especially in the United States of America, with elections coming around the corner, we're seeing people becoming militant, picking up arms, and they're walking around militant. And then we're seeing other people reacting to their militancy, and they're picking up arms as well. Now, here's the thing about it. Both sets of people have a point. Well, separate points, but nonetheless. I've seen, white guys strap up themselves with ammunition, and they're trying to protect and defend certain things. Some of them should not be defended, but they are all part of history. And other things deserve to be defended. So let me give you the positives and negatives of, we're seeing all kinds of things happening, but we're seeing white men, particularly ex-Marines, etc., strapping themselves up. And they're trying to protect their rights. Now, here's the thing about it. So I'm going to talk about this issue because I got to go into it. Here's where I agree with them. And you're saying, what? You actually agree with these people? There are things. See, the thing about me is I don't really look at individuals, and just because this is something's coming from a certain individual means that this person is someone I can't agree with on anything. No, I can agree with people on things. The nice thing about being where I live is the majority of people I'm around are just like me. They're colored people. All right. And so that's a beautiful thing. In fact, I don't think there's much white people in my country, period. And that's great. I live in the Caribbean, Trinidad. Perfect weather. Beautiful place. But that's irrelevant to the situation. Here's where I agree with these people. I agree that the rights of an individual must be protected. I agree that the right and decision to move about freely where you're not breaking any law, okay? I believe that that right should be held. I'll give you what I'm talking about specifically. The laws on masks and the fact that there could be a law for you, mandatory that you take a vaccine. That should not be something that's mandatory. That should be something based on choice. Masks, vaccines, freedom of expression, freedom of speech should never be, and freedom of choice should never be played around with. And I do believe that these white people who went down to Washington, D.C., the white people I see down in the South who are trying to protect buildings, etc. But the people, particularly who went down to Washington, D.C. to speak on masks, and the steps being taken by big government to restrict the freedoms and rights of individuals, I think they have a point there. I agree with them on that. Where I do not agree with them in any way, shape, or form is that they should keep monuments and places which reinforce, or shall I say, enhance values and principles which relegate humanity or humans into products and things. I think that the place for those sort of things, and they shouldn't be called monuments, but the place for those sort of things should be in a museum. You can have it in a museum to archive different aspects of history, but they should not be monuments for people to look on, reflect on, and feel proud about. I'm sorry. That's just not cool. But there is a place for them. So the white people who are trying to protect those kinds of things, which are really what we call dehumanizing things, which relegate a human being to being not just a slave, but a property of someone else. I think that is not a good look for them, nor for their surroundings. Because if you're going to keep that as a monument, it means your ideology is the same. You're going to keep on thinking of a certain race of people or even minorities that come to the United States as not just outsiders and not one of you, but also not human. Okay? That's dehumanizing, and that is just not good. However, let it be known that history must still record accurately the comprehensive views of the people who held those sort of ideologies, amongst other things. Because you can always find something good in the midst of something very, very bad. So that's how I look at it objectively, not getting myself embroiled, not thinking of it in terms. Now, with respect to the non-white or the people who have choose to represent humanity and to represent the proper treatment of people, are people who will be able to look at the other side and see that minorities, and particularly the black people in America, which I am a black person myself, but I'm not American, to be able to see that other side, empathize with that, and you are going under attack. So as you feel that you're going to be under attack, you strap yourself up and you militarize yourself as well as the black people have militarized themselves. This is what I got to say. Again, they have a huge point. I understand why they're reacting the way they're reacting. However, even though the time to talk seems to be at an end, we must always negotiate to the very last. Especially for the black communities that are not violent people, but they feel like their rights may be impinged. They're not really from ghettos or anything like that, but they feel their rights may be impinged because history has repeated itself before, and white people have burned down, for example, Black Wall Street, and they have killed and they have lynched a lot of black people. And for the white people who have done all these things, or their ancestors have done all these things, and they're benefiting from the profits of all these things, if you're feeling guilty inside of you, or you feel that there will be some sort of revenge by the minorities because of this is where it will head if you keep on trying to be militant. If you keep on pressing with force will come back at you. And I can guarantee you one thing, white people. If you keep on, listen to me very carefully, because white people used to be down here too in my country. It's now mostly black. Okay? And I've seen a lot of white people evacuate from areas after they've realized that it's being overrun by minorities and black and colored folk. And you're going to find yourself off the planet very soon if you keep on behaving like that, because you always feel you have to put down people to be amongst them. To make yourself feel important, you feel you have to put down others. But as the scripture just said, a bruised reed he shall not break. Servants of the Most High, especially white people who call yourselves Christians, you should be the most empathetic people in the world. You should have a heart for everybody. And secondly, if this does get down to being militarized, just remember black people got a head start on you in terms of surviving. They went for 400 plus years. You tried to annihilate them. You tried to kill them. You tried to belittle them, and they're around still. So if you really think about it, you're the kind of folk that need help from black people to stay around. Even if you have a shred of sense in your head, because this is for the white folk out there. Black people have helped you with your culture. They have helped you enrich your education. They have helped you build your country. They've rode side by side with you even when you never made them equals. So if you think a couple guns and a couple bombs is going to take down a black population, you got another thing coming. They're survivors. They will exist. The world will always be black. The majority of people in the world are black people or colored. And your race actually came from black people. You should know this by now by your science. So there is no way in fucking hell you're going to get rid of black people. They're going to be around. So you're on a crusade that's going to fail. What you need to do is acknowledge them as people. We can coexist. As Man of Steel said, shout out to Zack Snyder and Superman, humanity could have coexisted with the Kryptonians. We can coexist and we can share the power and equalize the playing field and give everybody their good just due. Everybody can get their just due out here. Everybody can exist on this planet is not overpopulated.